Hello students, welcome you all to my series of lectures on second PU chemistry, right? Now I am going to start the third discussion, that is solutions, the second unit of the chemistry syllabus of second PU. As far as the chapter solutions is concerned, here the number of hours allotted to this particular chapter will be 9 hours. 9 hours discussion it is, right? Number of hours allotted for the discussion will be 9 hours in the syllabus. And of course, the weightage of this particular chapter in the annual examination is 7 marks. Weightage of this particular chapter in the annual examination is 7 marks. And out of 7 marks, you can expect 2 questions in part A. In part A, that question number 1 and question number 2, they are the 1 mark questions from this particular chapter. Question number 1 and question number 2, they are all from, yes, it is solutions chapter, 1 mark questions, that is 1 mark questions. 2 1 mark questions you can expect in this particular chapter. And in part yes it is in part D, right? In part D, and of course under section 4 we have 5 mark question, right? We have 5 mark question, that is 1 more question from this particular chapter. And of course and out of 5 marks, there will be 1 3 mark question, that is there will be 1 3 marks numerical problem, right? And of course this 5 mark question will be of 28 question in yes it is part D, that is section 4 of part D, that is 28th question of, yes it is fourth section of part D will be from solutions. And out of 5 marks, there will be 1 question, and that is numerical problem from this particular chapter. Remaining 2 marks will be, yes it is fixed for other topics in the solutions, right? So this is what we call it as the weightage of this particular chapter in the annual examination, right? You can expect 7 marks from this particular chapter. Yes, what is concerned, the solution is a homogeneous mixture of, yes it is, solution is a homogeneous mixture. It is a homogeneous mixture of 2 or more components, right? It's a homogeneous mixture of 2 or more components whose relative amounts may be changed within certain limits. Whose relative amounts may be changed within certain limits, that is called as solutions. What's the meaning of homogeneous? Yes it is, right? As far as homogeneous is concerned, the homogeneous mixtures are characterized by, yes it is, same composition and same properties throughout the bulk of the solution. A homogeneous mixture is characterized by same composition and same properties throughout the bulk of the solution, that is what we call it as homogeneous mixture. And of course, if I take, yes it is, sugar in water, imagine sugar in water, yes. Imagine this is water in which I dissolve sugar, yes. And of course, sugar in water will form a solution, that is, will form a homogeneous mixture. Yes, it is, when it is properly stirred, you can see that you got sugar solution which is homogeneous because the properties of this solution and composition of this solution is same throughout the solution. Means the sweetness of the solution at the upper part of the solution is similar to the sweetness of the solution in the lower part of the solution. That's why the composition and properties of solutions will be same throughout the solution. Okay, that is what we call it as homogeneity. That is what we call it as homogeneous, right? If I take mud in water, imagine if I take mud in water, if I add mud to this, right? If I add mud to this, so this is heterogeneous. It is heterogeneous because the composition and properties will be different in different parts of the solution. For example, upon adding mud to water, the most of the mud particles will be settled down. Most of the mud particles will be settled down at the bottom. Therefore, the lower part is, yes it is lesser transparent, and upper part is more transparent. Lower part is lesser transparent, upper part is more transparent. And of course here, in the case of sugar solution, the whole solution is equally transparent. Upper part as well as lower part. That's why it is homogeneous, but it is heterogeneous. Or you can say, you can easily distinguish the components of the heterogeneous mixture. You can easily distinguish the components of the heterogeneous mixture. But in the case of homogeneous mixture, you cannot differentiate between what we call it as the components of the mixture. That's the main difference between homogeneous mixtures and heterogeneous mixtures. And that is what we call it as homogeneous mixtures. A solution is homogeneous mixture of 2 or more components whose relative amounts may be changed within certain limits. That is what we call it as solution. Okay. Then why should we study this particular chapter solution? The importance of these solutions in our day-to-day life. ಅಲ್ವಾ ನಮ್ಮ ಲೈಫಲ್ಲಿ ಓಕೆನಾ ಈ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್ ಯಾವ ರೋಲನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತವೆ ಹೌದಾ ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಮನಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಏನು ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಅಂತ ತಕ್ಷಣ ನಮ್ಮ ಮನಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೀ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಟೈಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಫಿಸಿಕಲ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್. A solution can be of solid solutions, they can be of liquid solutions, or they can be of gaseous solutions. Remember, as far as importance of the solutions is concerned, I just quote one reality that is enough for you to understand the importance of the solutions, right? That is, remember, the existence of the life on the existence of the life on the earth is because of, yes, it is air, is it not? Existence of the life on the earth is because of air itself. What is that air? Oxygen and of course nitrogen, right? Air is a solution of, yes, it is oxygen and nitrogen, and of course in tracer quantities, other gases you will find, right? Air, and the main components of air are oxygen and nitrogen. How the around 20% of air contains nitrogen, remaining 79% will be of nitrogen, and remaining 1% will be characterized by, yes, it is other gases. How the air is nothing but mixture of oxygen and nitrogen. It's a solution. It's a homogeneous mixture. And of course, the existence of life on the earth is because of air. You just imagine the importance of these solutions in the importance of the solutions in our day-to-day life. That one, yes, it is fact is enough for you to understand what to call it as importance of solutions in our life. Apart from that, as far as solutions are concerned, we use varieties of alloys, right? In our day-to-day life, we use varieties of alloys. So, for example, we use Alnico. We have German silver. We use German silver, right? We use steel. We have stainless steel. And of course, we use what we call it as brass. We use bronze. Varieties of alloys we use. And these properties are, the properties of these alloys will be entirely different from those of the components of the alloys. Two or more metallic substances are mixed, you are going to get class of solutions, solid solutions called alloys. Alloys are the solutions. They are also playing a vital role in our day-to-day life. You know that, is it not? Okay, now apart from that, whatever the products of digestion in our body, they are transported to the different parts of the body in the form of solutions. The ultimate, the product of the digestion of our food is glucose, is it not? Glucose will be transported to the different parts of our body in the form of solutions, But at the same time, you just imagine lungs, they are going to, absorb oxygen, is it not? Yes, the oxygen of the lungs goes into solution in the plasma of the blood. Oxygen of the lungs will go into solution in the plasma of the blood. There is also a solution in the form of solution, is it not? Apart from that, as far as solutions are concerned, you just imagine varieties of medicines will be given. Will be given to the patients in the form of solutions. Sumar medicines in the solutions form because solutions can be easily assimilated by our body. For example, varieties of syrups will be given, varieties of injections will be given to the patients. They are all in the form of solutions. Is it not? ಹಾಗಾಗಿ solutions are very, very important. At the same time, if you come to the chemical reactions, varieties of reactions will be carried out in solution form, because substances in pure form are less reactive compared to that in solution. Therefore, so many chemicals reactions will be carried out by using solutions of the substances. And these are all the things, they will indicate what we call it as importance of the solutions in our day-to-day life. Because of that, this particular chapter is being introduced in the, yes, it is second PU chemistry syllabus under second unit. Because of that, let me start, yes, it is the different topics under this particular, yes, it is chapter solutions. And of course, I said already, I defined what exactly that solution is it not? Solution is what we call it as homogeneous mixture of two or more components whose relative amounts may be changed within certain limits, and that is called as solution. As far as solution is concerned, generally, solution is characterized by two components. That is, one will be solute, another is it is solvent. Yes, these are the, it is two important components that will come across in solutions, and especially in the case of binary solutions, right? Binary solutions are those solutions, binary solutions are those solutions which will be produced by combining two components. If I prepare a solution by mixing three components, it will be ternary solutions. Yes, it will be ternary solutions. Ternary solutions can be obtained by mixing three components. If I prepare a solution by mixing four components, it will be called as quaternary solution. Like that, different types of solutions we have based on the number of components used for the preparation of that solution. We have binary solution, ternary solution and quaternary solution. As far as the chapter solution is concerned, each chapter we give much importance to the binary solutions. Most of the discussions we made on the basis of what we call it as by using what we call it as binary solutions. The solutions prepared by mixing two components. Just to divide those components into two types, that is what we call it as solute and solvent. As far as solute is concerned, in this particular chapter, we treat solute as the component of solution which is present relatively smaller in amounts, right? Okay, na? The component of solution which is present in relatively smaller amounts in the solution, that is called as solute. The one which is present in smaller amounts, in the solution, that can be called as solute. The components of solution, okay, na? Which is present in relatively smaller amounts, and that is called as, so that is solute. And apart from that, as far as solvent is concerned, generally the solvent is which is present in larger amounts, relatively larger amounts as far as solvent is concerned, and that is larger part of the solution is what we call it as solvent. Smaller part of the solution will be taken as solute. That's the general aspect, is it not? Solute. And at the same time, as far as solvent is concerned, solvent is characterized by a certain physical state, is it not? Solvent is characterized by a certain physical state. The physical state of solvent is generally a physical state of solution. Physical state of solvent is generally a physical state of solution, and that is something about what we call it as solute and solvent. Of course, if I add sugar to water, water is taken as a solvent, and of course sugar is taken as a solute. So that is what we call it as solute and solvent. And depending upon the physical states of the solute and solvent, it is as many as 9 types of solutions can be it is obtained, and we will see that. And of course, we'll see that first we write the solute part of the solution, and then in the solvent part of the solution, right? Okay, na? Then it is examples for that, right? It is examples for the types of. So type 1 is what we call it as it is gas in it is solid. Solute is gas, solid is solvent. Yes, it is. The physical state of solvent is solid. Physical state of solute is it is gas. Athwa gas is present in smaller amounts, solid is present in larger amounts, and that is gas in solid type solution. It is hydrogen gas in it is over platinum. Athwa hydrogen gas adsorbed over palladium, and that is what we call it as solution of hydrogen in palladium. Yes, athwa solution of hydrogen gas over platinum. This is also a solution, solid gas in solid solution. Athwa dissolved gases, you can say that dissolved gases in it is minerals, various minerals are characterized by dissolved gases, okay na? And they are all the examples for what we call it as gas in solid type. Yes, it is gas in solid type solutions. Another is liquid in solid type. Solute is liquid, and the smaller component is liquid, larger component is solid. Under this, we have liquid in solid, that is hydrated salts. And it will be hydrated salts, right? Hydrated salts, for example, copper sulfate pentahydrate, right? Here in this particular solid, that solution is solid. Solution is characterized by solid state. I said physical state of solvent is a physical state of solution. And of course here the solution is prepared by mixing water and copper sulfate. Copper sulfate is a solid, water is a liquid, is it not? And the result is copper sulfate pentahydrate. Okay, na? Apart from mercury in sodium, that is mercury in sodium metal. Mercury in sodium metal, this is also example for it is liquid in solid type solution, and it is called as amalgam. That is the compounds of that is alloys of mercury with solid metals will be called as, alloys of mercury will be generally called as amalgams, and that sodium amalgam is a solution prepared by mixing mercury in sodium metal. Mercury is a liquid, and of course sodium metal is a solid, that is liquid in solid type. This is also water is a liquid, copper sulfate is a solid, that is water, liquid in water, solid type solution, that is liquid in solid type. Next is gas in solid, right? Or you can say that solid in solid. Solid in solid type, yes, solid in solid type. Andre solid is a solute, Solid is a solvent. Okay. As far as solid in solid type is concerned, many alloys can be given. That is, for example, brass. Brass is a mixture of, yes, it is copper and of course zinc. Or you can say bronze. This is also one more example for the solid solution. And of course that is copper in tin. That is, or you can say gold solution. That is gold solution. That is, gold solution is generally copper in gold. That is, copper is a solute, gold is a solvent, right? That is solid in solid type, and that will, what we call it as solid in solid type solutions. And of course all these three solutions are called as solid solutions. All these three solutions are called as solid solutions anta kariತೀವಿ. Okay na? Apart from that, we have yes, it is 6 more types. That is what we call it as gas in liquid. That is solute is a gas and of course solvent is a liquid. Gas in liquid type, that is oxygen gas dissolved in water. Yes, oxygen gas dissolved in water, right? Oxygen gas another importance of solution in our day-to-day life. That is dissolved oxygen in water. That is responsible for the existence of aquatic life. That is oxygen gas dissolved in water. Yes. Athwa. Now under this particular discussion, we have one more type, that is liquid in liquid type. That is solute is a liquid, solvent is a liquid. Yes, liquid in liquid type, and it is a mixture of ethanol and of course water. That is, ethanol is a solute and water is a solvent. Mixture of ethanol and water. Many examples you can give, or you can go for, as it is the methanol in water. You can go for methanol in water. Yes. Many examples you can give. Hydrogen peroxide in water can be taken. Hydrogen peroxide in water can be taken. They are all examples for, yes, it is liquid in liquid type solutions. Apart from that, we have solid in liquid type. Solid in liquid type. Yes, it is. Athwa solute is a solid, solvent is a liquid, and you can give many examples for that. That is glucose in water, athwa sugar in water, athwa salts in water. Yes, salts dissolved in water, sugar dissolved in water, athwa, yes, it is, or you can say that urea dissolved in water, they are all examples for, yes, it is the solid in liquid type. And all these three types, they are considered to be liquid solutions. Because the physical state of, yes, it is solvent. Physical state of solvent is a physical state of solution. That's why all these three will be taken as liquid solutions. Right? That is, first of all, it is what we call it as gas in gas type. Yes, gas in gas type. That is, solute is a gas, solvent is a gas, right? Solute is a gas and solvent is a gas. In that case, I'll go for this. Oxygen gas, yes, it is, and nitrogen gas in air. Here, oxygen is a solute, nitrogen is a solvent, and because amount of oxygen in air is relatively small compared to that of the, yes, it is nitrogen. Therefore, I treat it as a solute, nitrogen as a solvent. That is mixture of oxygen and nitrogen in air. That is gas in gas type. Then it is liquid in gas type. Here it is, I go for this. Chloroform particles in nitrogen gas will form a homogeneous solution. And of course, solid in gas type. You go for, yes, it is camphor in nitrogen. That is camphor. You know that camphor, camphor in, yes, it is nitrogen gas. Camphor in nitrogen gas is a homogeneous solution of, yes, it is that is solid in gas type. Yes, I used, as far as, yes, it is, these three types are coming under gaseous solutions. Because the solvent is a gas, solute is, of course, it will have a different physical states, and therefore it is gaseous solutions. The physical state of these solutions will be in gaseous state, right? Okay, na? That is what we call it as gaseous solutions. In all the cases, I used nitrogen as a solvent. Or the oxygen in nitrogen, camphor in, chloroform in nitrogen, and camphor in nitrogen. And that is what we call it as, I have used the common solvent in all the examples. And that is what we call it as the, yes, it is classification of, yes, it is solutions as far as depending upon the physical states of solute and solvents or that is coming under binary solutions, right? That is coming under binary solutions. Right? Important discussion, that is concentration of solutions. concentration of solutions, right? Let's see that. What exactly that concentration stands for first. What exactly that concentration stands for. Just imagine a solution. It is prepared by mixing solute and solvent, right? Concentration of solution refers to the amount of solute dissolved in given amount of solution or solvent. Amount of solute dissolved in given amount of solvent or solution, and that is what we call it as concentration. The concentration of solutions can be expressed in two ways. That is, you can talk about concentration of solutions qualitatively as well as quantitatively, right? We can talk about concentration of solutions qualitatively as well as quantitatively, right? And as far as qualitative way of expressing concentration is concerned, that is, qualitative way of expressing concentration of solutions is, that is, dilute solutions and concentrated solutions, right? And this is qualitative way of expressing, yes, it is concentration of solutions, that is, dilute solutions and concentrated solutions. In the case of dilute solutions, the amount of solute is relatively small, and of course compared to the amount of solvent. And of course there is a huge difference in the relative amounts of solute and solvent, and of course solute will be in very very low concentrations, amount of solutes will be very very low, and that of the solvent is very very high, and that is what we call it as dilute solutions. In the case of concentrated solutions, the amount of solute in the solution is relatively large. Amount of solute in the solution is relatively large, and that is what we call it as concentrated solutions. So for example, you imagine two sugar solutions, right? This is solution number 1 and this is solution number 2. Two sugar solutions, and imagine money. Okay, now I ask you to taste the solutions, right? Okay, if this solution doesn't give any taste, okay, if it is tasteless, and it is highly sweet, if it is highly sweet, both are sugar solutions, but its sweetness is very very less or almost tasteless. That means this solution is very very dilute because very small amount of sugar is added to the water. Here it is highly sweet, its sweetness is very very high because that very large amount of sugar is dissolved in water. That's why it is concentrated solution and it is dilute solution. And this is qualitative way of expressing concentration of solutions. But in chemistry we need quantitative methods of expressing, yes, it is concentration of solution. No doubt it is dilute, okay, no doubt it is concentrated, but in order to understand to what extent this solution is dilute, to what extent this solution is concentrated, in order to understand that particular aspect, you need quantitative methods of expressing concentration of solutions, and that is the main discussion here. That is what we call it as quantitative methods of expressing concentration of the solutions. Before going to that particular aspect, I'll go for the why should we know the concentration of the solutions? Alva? Concentration of solutions ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಅದನ್ನ ಓದೋದು ಸರಿ, ಓಕೆ, ಓದಬೇಕೆಲ್ಲ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು, ಸರಿ, ಓಕೆ, ನಾನು ಒಪ್ಕೋತೀನಿ. ಆದರೆ what is the importance of expressing concentration of the solutions? Why should we know the concentration of the solutions? Remember, for that purpose, concept, wonderful fact, yes it is, that will through that you can understand importance of expressing concentration of the solutions. So for example, imagine water is characterized by, yes it is, various ions, right? Fluoride ions, right? Water is characterized by fluoride ions, right? If the concentration amount of fluoride ions in water is 1 ppm, 1 parts per million, you will understand what exactly ppm is in the later discussion. Okay, na? If the concentration of fluoride ions in the water is 1 ppm, right? Then this particular concentration of fluoride in water is going to prevent the decay of the teeth, is it not? ಹಲ್ಲು ಕೊಳೆಯೋದನ್ನ ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಅವಾಯ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾವಾಗ? If the concentration of fluoride in water is around 1 ppm. If the concentration of fluoride in water is increased to 1.5 ppm ಅಂತ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, yes. If the concentration of fluoride ions in water is more than 1 ppm, ಅಥವಾ 1.5 ppm ರೀಚ್ ಆಯಿತು ಅಂತ ತಕ್ಷಣ, and that water is not fit for the drinking purpose, ಅಥವಾ that water is dangerous to the teeth, that water is harmful to the bones and all those things. Because if the concentration of fluoride in water is around 1.5 ppm, that will impart certain color to the tooth and all those things, that will impart certain colors to the teeth, and that is the harmful effect of the, yes, it is 1.5 ppm fluoride concentration in water. If the concentration of fluoride is more than this, if the concentration of fluoride is more than this in water, it will be, yes, it is poisonous. It will be poisonous. The water becomes poisonous. Is it not? Because of that, the knowing concentrations of ion, knowing concentrations of solutions is very, very important. Apart from that, I quote one more important aspect, one more important fact, and that also convince you people the importance of expressing concentration of the solutions. You just imagine, in your cities, many hotels are available. ಹೌದಾ? ನಿಮ್ಮ ಊರಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಮಾರು ಹೋಟೆಲ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಹೌದಾ? In all hotels, almost same kind of dishes will be prepared, ಹೌದಾ? ಪ್ರತಿ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ ಕೂಡ almost similar kind of dishes will be prepared, ಹೌದಾ? Among these hotels, there are some very few or one or two hotels in your city, they are very, very popular, ಹೌದಾ? Most of the people visit that particular hotels, ಹೌದಾ? For having breakfast, is it not? ಹೌದಾನೆ? ಯಾಕೆ? The food is very, very tasty, or you can say that the quality of food is very, very high. The food is very, very tasty. Because of that, most of the people are going to visit that particular hotel. ಹೌದಲ್ವಾ? ಹೌದಾನೆ? ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ what will decide the taste of the food? It is the concentration of the various ingredients. It is the concentration of various ingredients added to the food, is it not? If the proper concentration of various ingredients are maintained in a food, then only food becomes very, very tasty. Then only food becomes very, very tasty. And because of that, the concentration is very important. Because of that, concentration is very, very important. Now come back to the girls now. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳಿಗೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ವಿಚಾರ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ನಿಮಗೆ, ಅದು ತುಂಬಾ ಯೂಸ್ಫುಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳಿಗೆ. ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, ಜನರಲಿ ವಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಗೋಲ್ಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಿ, yes, it is designing various ornaments, ಹೌದಾ? Generally we use, that is gold ornaments, ಹೌದಲ್ವಾ? And in gold we have 24 karat gold ಅಂತ ಇದೆ, right? 22 karat gold ಅಂತ ಇದೆ, yes, ಹೌದಲ್ವಾ? And for your information we have 21 karat gold ಅಂತ ಇದೆ, or I can say that 18 karat gold ಅಂತಾನೆ ಇದೆ. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ, ಬಟ್ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಇದೆ ವಿಚಾರ. What is 24 karat gold ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, it is 100% pure gold, right? 100% pure gold, right? What is 22 karat gold ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, that is 91.6% gold ಅಂತ ಇದೆ. That is ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ 916 gold ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ ಇದನ್ನ. ಏನಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ? 916 gold ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. That is 91.6% gold ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ that concentration of gold in the 22 karat gold is, that is 91.6 grams in 100 grams of alloy, right? Because gold is an alloy of gold and copper. That 22 karat is a alloy of gold and copper. 22 karat gold is alloy of, yes, it is gold and copper. Because that pure gold is not useful for designing ornaments. Very delicate designs cannot be made by using 100% pure gold. Because of that, we use 22 karat gold, highly useful for designing gold ornaments. And that's a solution of gold and copper. Copper is a solute, gold is a solvent. 916 gold is 91.6 grams of gold in 100 grams of that alloy. Remaining, yes, it is 8.4 grams, it will be copper. Remaining 8.4 grams will be copper. 21 karat gold antandre 875, yes, it is 87.5% gold it is. 87.5% gold is 21 karat gold, yes. 18% andre 75%, yes, it is gold it is. 75% gold andre 75% gold idre 25% copper irtade. This is what we call it as 18 karat gold, yes. 21 karat gold alli, yes, it is 87.5% gold irtade. Remaining, that is remaining, yes, it is 14.5% idella, that is, sorry, 12.5%. Remaining 12.5% idella, that is what we call it as copper. ಹೌದಾ? ಇನ್ನೂ ಒಂದಿದೆ 23 karat gold ಅಂತ ಇದೆ. That is 23 karat gold ಇದೆ. That is what we call it as 95.8% gold. That is 95.8% gold. ಅಂದ್ರೆ 95.8% gold ಅಂದ್ರೆ 95.8 grams of gold is dissolved in 100 grams of gold solution. ಅಂದ್ರೆ 100 grams of alloy. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ರಿಮೈನಿಂಗ್ ಎಷ್ಟಾಯ್ತು ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ? 4.2 grams of, yes, it is copper ಇರ್ತದೆ. 4.2% copper ಇರ್ತದೆ, right? So this is These are all the things, they will tell you something about importance of, yes, it is concentration of the solutions. Importance of concentration of solutions in our day-to-day life. Howda? And remember, whatever the injections that are given to the, yes, it is given to you, given to the patients, and that should have a definite concentration of things. And that is what we call it as importance of expressing concentration of the solutions. Howda? ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತು ಅನ್ಕೋತೀನಿ ಹೌದಾ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಟ್ the knowledge of concentration is very very important. Because of that the knowledge of concentration is very very important. Yes, so with that information of solutions, methods of expressing concentration of solutions, and with that it will be, yes, it is first one, it will be, yes, it is percentage by mass. Percentage by mass, this is one of the methods of expressing concentration of the solutions. Remember, whenever I am talking about solution, it's a homogeneous mixture of solute solvent. Howda? Percentage by mass, this is, or you can say that is also known as mass by mass percentage. Mass by mass percentage, right? This is alternate word. As far as the percentage mass is concerned, whenever I am talking about, yes, it is percentage, it will be expressed out of 100. I mean, if I say percentage of solution, the amount of solute dissolved in 100 grams of solution, ಅಥವಾ number of grams of solute dissolved in 100 grams of solution, that is what we call it as percentage of the solution. For example, if I say, yes, it is 10% glucose solution ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ, if I say 10% glucose solution ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, this is percentage by mass ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ, right? 10 grams of, yes, it is glucose, 10 grams of glucose in, yes, it is 90 grams of water. 10 grams of glucose in 90 grams of water. That is total mass of the solution is 100 grams. Andre, if I say 10% glucose solution, that means 10 grams of glucose is dissolved in 100 grams of solution. Andre, amount of solute dissolved in 100 parts by mass of the solution. Athwa number of parts by mass of the solute dissolved in 100 parts by mass of the solution, that is called as percentage. Athwa number of grams of one component dissolved in 100 grams of that solution, that is called as, yes, it is percentage by mass. Percentage by mass. So that is, in order to calculate, yes, it is percentage by mass of the solution. In order to calculate percentage by mass of the solution, I'll go for one illustration, right? So imagine, yes, it is WA grams of solute. WA grams of solute, right? Dissolved in WB grams of, yes, it is solvent. WA grams of solute dissolved in WB grams of solvent. The WA grams of component A dissolved in WB grams of component B. Here the components is the component A and it is component B. And of course, therefore, the mass of solution mass of solution that's equal to WA plus WB, right? Mass of solution WA plus WB. That is mass of solute plus mass of solvent. Athwa mass of component A and mass of component B, that is mass of the solution. On the basis of that, what I can say that WA plus WB, yes, grams of solution contains, yes, WA grams of A athwa solute A. Howda? WA grams of solute A athwa component A. Howda? Yes. Illi gottaguttalla, I mixed A and B, right? I mixed two components A and B, solute and solvent. Howda? Total mass of the solution WA plus WB, right? Therefore, on the basis of that, what I can say that WA plus WB grams of solution, this is a solution that contains WA grams of A. Therefore, 100 grams of solution must contain, 100 grams of solution must contain WA into 100, yes, WA into 100 divided by WA plus WB. So this is the formula I can make use of. Any percentage of any component in the solution. In order to determine percentage of any component in the solution, that is what we call it as, that is percentage of component A is equal to, yes, mass of component A. Mass of component A divided by, what is WA plus WB? Total mass of solution. This is total mass of solution, right? This is total mass of solution into 100. Into 100. That is what we call it as percentage of component A in the solution. what is the percentage of component P? ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ B ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ mass of the component P divided by total mass of the solution into 100 ಅಷ್ಟೇನೆ. Percentage component of A is mass of the component A divided by total mass of the solution into 100. Percentage component of B ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ mass of the component P divided by total mass of the solution. ಹೌದಾ? So this is what we call it as, yes, it is percentage by mass. And of course, whenever I am calculating concentrations, I usually go for this. If A tends to be, what about C? If A tends to be, what about C? C is equal to what? B into C divided by A. If A tends to be, C tends to C into B by A. This concept, not it. WA plus WB grams of solution contains WA grams of A. What about 100 grams? 100 into A, WA divided by WA plus WB. This is what we call it as percentage by mass. That is number of parts by mass of the component, by mass of the given component dissolved in 100 parts by mass of the, yes, it is solution, and that is called as Nenpirli 100 part by mass of this solution, and that is what we call it as percentage. Okay, now this is what we call it as mass by mass percentage, because I expressed amount of component in mass. I express amount of component in mass, amount of solution in mass. That's why mass by mass percentage. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ amounts of components can be expressed in different ways. Amount can be expressed in terms of mass, in terms of volume, in terms of moles, in terms of number. Because of that, we have different methods of expressing concentration of solutions. Hagagi, this is one of the ways of expressing, yes it is concentration of the solution, that is percentage by mass, ಅಥವಾ mass by mass percentage. Volume by volume percentage. Volume by volume percentage. This is what we call it as second one, that is volume by volume percentage, ಅಥವಾ percentage by volume. This is percentage by volume. This is the second method of expressing concentration of solution, that is volume by volume percentage ಅಥವಾ percentage by volume. ಹೇಗೆ mass by mass ಹೇಗಿತ್ತು ಅದೇ ತರ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ number of parts by volume of the component, number of parts by volume of the component, given component dissolved in 100 parts by volume of the solution. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಮಾಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ವಾಲ್ಯೂಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ವಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನ್, yes, it is VA cm cube of component A dissolved in VB cm cube of component B. This is solute and solvent ಅಂತ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಏನು ತೊಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ, ರೈಟ್? VA cm cube of, yes, it is component A dissolved in VB cm cube of component B. Generally, volume by volume method is used for liquid solutions where solute and solvents are liquids, right? Okay, now that is VA cm cube of component A is dissolved in VB cm cube of component B, right? Therefore, total volume of solution ಏನು? Total volume of solution ಏನು? That is equal to ಏನು? VA plus VB, right? That's equal to VA plus VB. ಹೌದಾ? ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಯ್ತು ಈಗ? VA plus VB cm cube of solution, right? VA plus VB cm cube of solution contains, yes it is, VA cm cube of component A. ಹೌದಲ್ವಾ? ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, this much of solution contains VA cm cube of component A. Therefore 100 cm cube, that is 100 cm cube ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? 100 into VA divided by ಹೇಳಿ VA plus VB, right? 100 into VA divided by VA plus VB. That's why percentage of, yes it is, component A by volume equals, ಹೌದಾ? ಅಥವಾ ವಾಲ್ಯೂಮ್ ಪರ್ಸೆಂಟೇಜ್ ಅಥವಾ ವಾಲ್ಯೂಮ್ ಪರ್ಸೆಂಟೇಜ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಾಂಪೊನೆಂಟ್ A is equal to, yes, ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? That is volume of component A, volume of component A divided by ಹೇಳಿ total volume of solution. VA plus VB ಏನದು? VA plus VB ಏನು? Total volume of solution into 100. And this is what we call it as, yes it is, volume percentage of A, component A. That is volume percentage of B ಆದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? Volume of the component B divided by total volume of solution into 100. That is ಹೇಗೆ mass of a component divided by total mass ಅಂತಿದ್ವಲ್ಲ ಹಾಗೆ volume of a component divided by total volume of the solution into 100, that is ಅಥವಾ volume by volume percentage. Apart from that, here we have one more method, that is mass by volume percentage. That is mass by volume percentage. Mass by volume percentage. Generally, this method is used. This method is used in the case of pharmaceutical industries for expressing concentrations of the various SAT solutions, right? That is mass by volume percentage. Once an example ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, name the method of expressing concentration of solutions used in pharmaceutical industries. ಯಾವುದು? Mass by volume, yes it is percentage, right? For example, WA grams of component A, right? WA grams of component A. It is dissolved in, yes it is VCM cube of solution, right? VCM cube of solution, right? WA grams of acidic component dissolved in VCM cube of solution. Hagadre, what about, yes it is percentage there, and that means VCM cube of solution contains really WA grams of, yes it is component A. Therefore, yes it is 100 cm cube, that is 100 cm cube contains 100 into WA divided by, yes it is VCM cube, howda? 100 into WA divided by VCM cube, howda? This into this 100 into W divided by V, that is what we call it as mass by volume percentage. Therefore, that is mass by volume percentage, mass by volume percentage of component A equals, yes it is, what is that? Mass of solute in grams. Mass of solute in a grams ಅಲ್ಲಿ express ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, then volume of solution, total volume of solution in ml, total volume of solution in ml into 100, and that is, yes it is what we call it as volume, mass by volume percentage. Yes, ಇಲ್ಲಿ amount of solute ಅನ್ನ grams ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಡ್ತಾರೆ, volume of amount of solution ಅನ್ನ volumes ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಡ್ತಾರೆ, amount of solute ಅನ್ನ mass ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಡ್ತಾರೆ, amount of solution ಅನ್ನ volume ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಡ್ತಾರೆ. That is what we call it as yes it is mass by volume percentage. So this is what we call it as yes it is percentage by volume. Apart from that, yes it is, here we have few more methods of expressing concentration of solutions, few more methods of expressing concentration of solutions, okay na? So those things we'll see in the next video, right? So that is what we call it as the methods of expressing concentration of solution. Artha aitu ankotini, okay na? We'll see in the second video, right? Thank you, right?